this regular session of the Fayette County Board of Education on this March 31st, 2026. I'd like Mr. Chris, if you would, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, sir. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. I think we're having to do this a little bit too often, but if we could take a moment of silence for the loss of one of our past colleagues, Miss Marion Tanner. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, again, welcome everyone. We'll get started. First up, Mr. Slockett, I'll invite you up to the podium.
I just want to say a few things about Marion Tanner. When I told my daughter Courtney what she said summarized most everybody's feeling. She said, "Dad, what a great teacher and what a very nice person." And when Marion retired from the board here, we all got to say things. And what I remember most about Marion when she was on the board, her impact on me, she made me a better board member and a better person. And she will definitely be missed throughout the county and the state of West Virginia.
Yep, for sure.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Slockett. Okay, we'll now get into recognitions and reports. So we've got a lot of great information to share this evening, and Ms. Hedrick, I think you're going to get us started, right? I'm used to you being on this side of the room.
Well, I came in and she had moved chairs away. Yeah, I was like, okay.
It is messing with my feng shui.
Superintendent Warble, President Gray, elected board members, thank you very much for allowing me to be here, and to our audience. This evening, I have the great privilege, of recognizing one of our own. I want to start by saying that this person is more than an employee, is more than a teacher, more than a teacher facilitator. This person is also someone that I call a friend. This person that we're talking about is Miss Roberta McGuire, who's sitting on the front row. I have several things I'd like to say, if you don't mind, Ms. McGuire. Okay. I want to start off by saying that right now we're looking at a teacher-pupil ratio of 1 to 267, grades 3 through 12. That's a lot. Whether you're an administrator, whether you're a classroom teacher, and you have that many responsibilities, that is a lot. Ms. McGuire is an exceptional operational management. The scale of responsibility, Ms. McGuire serves as the central hub for nearly 300 virtual students, a massive undertaking that requires elite organizational skills and constant vigilance. LMS mastery, for those of you who are not sure what an LMS is, that's the platform that our students use on virtual. We are currently utilizing 2 that Ms. McGuire has to master, and also help students and parents master. Moving into next year, she's already had 1 training on a change that they are offering to one of our virtual platforms. So she has to know it, and she has to be able to help not only students, parents, grandparents, guardians understand how to use that. The bridge to technology. She acts as a primary technical translator, teaching both students and parents. Instructional and administrative leadership, maintaining connection. Through weekly Teams meetings, she ensures that virtual students remain seen, heard, and connected to their educational community, preventing the isolation often felt in remote learning. She manages the essential back end of education, including meticulous attendance tracking and the complex task of entering and managing student schedules. Ms. McGuire serves as the vital link between the virtual program and the county school offices, the county schools office, coordinating both daily schedules and high-stakes assessment calendars to ensure compliance and student success. Logistics and communication. She manages the physical side of virtual learning by personally handling the distribution of student devices, ensuring every child has the tools they need to succeed. She ensures families stay informed by manually creating and mailing midterm and 9 weeks grade cards and a personal touch that reinforces the value of the students' hard work. In closing, Roberta McGuire is more than a facilitator. She is the engine of our virtual program. From high-level coordination to the county to the hands-on task of mailing grade cards, she handles the digital and physical with equal grace. Her ability to mentor 267 right now, which may have been more, which may go backwards, family through the complexities of modern LMS platforms makes her an indispensable asset to our district. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. McGuire if she will come forward and she can speak if she would like to. We also have
How am I supposed to do this without crying? I don't have a whole lot to say. I just want to say one word. I've been blessed. And that's what my whole life has been in Peck County as a teacher. I feel like God intended me to be a teacher in this county. I grew up here, and I've always been here, and I'll be 65 in September. I can't believe I'm going to be that old. And people keep saying, when are you going to retire, Bert? But I want to thank you all for the privilege of being a teacher in this wonderful, beautiful county. Thank you.
Before we take a picture, I think Tim wanted to say a couple.
I just want to congratulate you, first of all, Roberta. I mean, she's always been amazing. She's a teacher at Oak Hill High School, and I shouldn't say several years ago, but several years ago, we'll just say it is what it is. But anyway, I came to Roberta and I said, Roberta, there's this new course, and I think you would be perfect to teach it. It's called Global Laureate. And Roberta said, let's do it. And she's an award-winning Global Laureate teacher as well. So I just want to throw that. She's always been, yes, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. It's good for kids, let's do it. So I just want to throw that in.
Excellent,
So,
excellent.
thank you.
So, board members, come on up. Roberta, you've got to get a picture with all of us.
And out of those kids, out of the 267, 54 of them are special ed. So that's about 20% of the population that she deals with. You want to, wait, let's get these over this way. There we go.
Thank you, good one.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Yes, ma'am. God bless you too.
Kleenex in this room. Can't find any.
All right, what a great way to get started.
Amen.
So next up, we'll bring Mr. Harper. I think you've got some recognition as well.
I do. I actually want to welcome up Kristen Shannon and Annalise Shepard. They're going to talk about the Mountaineer Master's Mathematics Teacher, which is M3T initiative. It's a teacher-led group to identify classroom bugs or challenges to impact student learning. And they want to talk about what they did and what they're doing this year with this. So.
All right.
So we have this nice poster that we presented at VCTM and didn't think of how really y'all won't be able to see it well, so we're gonna wing it.
I'm going to get that.
We'll get Vanna
Been
up
nice
here.
and
and
roll.
she-
Here you go.
It's all right.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we've been part of M3T for 6 years now, and I think I've only presented to the board one time. So I thought it was time to share some of the things we do. So I was going to give you a little brief overview of what we do, and then we're going to talk about what we specifically did this year with our lit team. So as a whole, we're trying to change math in math classrooms, but based on small challenges. So everyone has these great big ideas to change math overall, and we get into things that we are stuck in for a year and they might not work or not. And M3T takes little bugs in our classroom, so specifically in ours, but we talk with Network and people in our community as well as all across the state and share little things like our kids aren't talking about math as much. What can we do to fix that? We share ideas, research things, and then try them out in our classroom. And we have the great opportunity to do PDSAs, so that stands for Plan, Do, Study, Act. So the plan is the researching and figuring out the bug. Then we find a change idea that we think could alter that in our classrooms. We do it. Then we study our results, and then we act. So our act can be to adopt, adapt, or abandon. So real quick, we can see after 4 implementations of something, if we just want to scrap it completely, try something new. So that's what we based on, and this year's PDSA, Annalie's going to explain to you guys what we did.
Alright, so how we came about what we were going to do, so we give a big survey at the beginning of each year. Our students take it, they don't really know us well yet, they're taking it in September. So when they're taking it in September, like I said, they don't know us, so the hope is that all of this data is going to grow. So 2 things that really stuck out to us was the students were not making sense of their math, and they're also not arguing and defending their answers. So those are 2 things we knew immediately with our local improvement team, consisting of me, Kristen, Julie Payton, who's here with us tonight, Stevie Mooney, and Tim Haney. We came together and decided, hey, how are we going to fix this? So after that, we started our first change idea, which was called contrasting cases. So if you guys aren't really that familiar, with math classroom, how that works, how we'll do this is we, present them with the problem, maybe 2 different problems, and then they're both worked out. So you can't really see it, but an example up there, Mr. Haney actually made that one, typed it all up, made it fancy for his geometry class. He got to tackle, for instance, one problem where they had to add up to equal 180, and then one problem where they had to equal each other. So the students had to understand, well, when this rule is applied, I have to add up, or when this rule is applied, I have to set it equal. So the students have to demonstrate their understanding, and then they have to be able to argue and defend it. So how this would work was they would look at it individually, then they would come together as a group and discuss it, and then after they discussed it, that was their arguing and defending, right? So maybe they wanted to keep their answer, maybe they wanted to change their answer. So if you could see our data over there, the one in the middle, I don't like to say that color, so I'm not going to say.
It's orange.
Yeah,
You
that.
can't say orange.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a, yeah. But, so that color in the middle there, it looks really great. Our data went up every time and makes us look good. But then we observed in our classrooms that we didn't really feel like that was happening. So do the kids think that they were arguing, defending? Absolutely. But it was more like, hey, I got D, did you get D? And then they're like, yeah, great, we did good. So that's what they thought was happening. So data looked really great, but we decided that maybe this wasn't what we wanted to do to accomplish our mission. So then insert change idea 2.
So Julie is a podcast woman, and she listens to lots of podcasts about teaching. And she presented this idea when we first picked contrasting cases. And we chose contrasting cases over, and then we took her idea for our second round. So analyzing common errors, we just made up that name, so don't search it up or anything. You won't find anything great, or you might find a lot. That's not this. So her podcast was talking about SAT questions, GSA, probably any standardized testing. The answer choices are always common error analysis. So there's one answer that's right. The other 3, if you make some small mistake, those are the answer choices they give you. So they really trick you. Flip around a negative, you can get B might be -3, and the answer was +3. And that small mistake, that's what they give you for all 3. So these test question creators, that's what they use to create their multiple choice answers. So really confusing for kids, and really easy for them to pick the wrong answer. So that's what we based ours off on, was SAT questions. So there's a small box there with an SAT question, and we just presented to the kids, and we wanted them to each, a group of 3 or 4 kids, so if there were 3 kids in the group, we only had A, B, C. If there was 4, we had D. And we wanted them to argue and defend their answers. So they had to determine if their answer was incorrect or correct. If it was correct, then they could explain, that they solved it correctly. If it's incorrect, they had to try to find what mistake they could have made to get that answer. So a lot of teachers in M3T thought that this was diving a little too deep. They were like, this is what we do. This is not what students do. They don't need to find common mistakes. But how can you be, vigilant to making a common error if you don't know what they are? So we thought this was really cool for the kids. At first, they wanted to really do the same thing with contrasting cases and be like, well, you know, Mr. Warble has A and it's right, so mine has to be wrong. Okay, no good conversations were happening. So we tried to cut that off. So what I did was cut into strips A, B, C, D, so they could only see their answer choice. So the problem was displayed on my TV and they each had their own. So they just sat there with only their answer and had to figure out those right or wrong. And then they'd come together as a group and discuss. So once they all explained their reasoning behind it, then they had to agree which one was right and why the other three were wrong. So that really, you know, stemmed the high conversations. A good spin that Stevie Mooney put on hers, she didn't want to use the SAT questions. She wanted to really hit home with what she was doing at that time. So she took the last test her kids took and used their common mistakes as the answer choices. So that really brought them right around to what they were doing and finding their common mistakes they were working on their current math. So she did it that way, which was super cool. And our kids still didn't think that they answered our survey good with the orange. Shows you that question. We had our kids answer 3 questions. Did they participate? Did they talk? Do you think that you argued or defended your answers? And did this help you get a better understanding of the content? So those are the 3 bars, and the orange is what we were really focused on. And our kids still weren't arguing and defending up to our standards, but that second implementation, they only got 2 rounds of it. So the whole entire change idea is 4 rounds. 2 rounds with contrasting cases, 2 rounds with analyzing common errors. So we think that if we implement our classroom more, it's really going to start building even better to where they're actually arguing and defending what we think rather than what they think. So
the whole beauty of this like process is that, I mean, if you love something and it works in your classroom, you get to keep it. But if you don't like it, then change it, make it better. Or if you completely just are like, this is not working, then it's something that you can abandon. So I mean, I can tell you over the last like 5 years that I've been doing this, we've adopted and we've changed and we've completely abandoned many things. And I mean, we've made it work, or we just kind of ended the year with a non-grade thing and we came back and tried again next year. So I know we've been super duper grateful. I know the past like 3 years at least, you know, I've had Tim and Stevie with me, so that's been really great. And I know that Julie's been with Kristen, so it's been awesome to have those same people in our school, you know, working with us every single year. So we appreciate you guys so much for your support that you've given us over the years and allowing us to keep doing this network.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. I think this is a great segue, Paula. We go from math to finance. So.
And I think Tim wanted to say that he hired these.
I did, I hired
Good job.
Kristen, did he hire you the second round?
It doesn't matter.
She's gone.
She's leaving, you know. Good job, Mr. Payton.
I wanted to say that I really take credit for Italy because I brought her to you.
Good job. She defended her answer.
You can tell she understands how to be analytical there. She's really good.
Yeah.
See you, ladies. Thank you. That was good.
Yeah.
This is in there, definitely contest.
We finally got our financial statements back. Our audit has been complete for fiscal year 2025, and I'm happy to report that there are no findings in our audit. I did send a copy of the audit with your board agendas this time, so there are just a couple pages in there that I want to point out to you so I can show you where to find some useful information. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is page 17 and 18, which is our income statement and balance sheets. So I can show you, I know there's a lot of talk in the state about fund balances and any monies to help pick up some slack in some of our funding with our reducing the number of students in our schools. So I'm going to show you the fund balance on both of these pages. We'll start with page 18 because it's just really one number. But in the first column under general current expense, and that's really what we're dealing with, all the special revenue accounts take care of themselves because they give you the money and they tell you how you have to spend it. So you don't really generate leftover funds in that in those funds. So in the general current expense, Your total revenues for the year were $81,337,809. Total expenditures, $75,734,687. Your ending fund balance is $14,433,996. I don't say them out loud often, I'm usually just typing them. So, and so that is our ending fund balance for the general fund. But over on page 17, I'll show you how we separate that fund balance. If you look in the first column, general current expense, down towards the last set of numbers, that is your fund balance for a total of $14 million. In that fund balance, we have restricted funds of $5,039,518, and what that is restricted for is that's excess levy money. So that would be the carryover from our excess levy. The assigned portion is $8,781,955, and what the assigned money is, it's monies that we have left over for Step 7, for any county projects we have in the general fund, state allocations if we have bus replacement money or staff development funds, anything left over. And then that also accounts for money that we could have put into the beginning budget for the next fiscal year. In this case, we used $5 million in our beginning budget for fiscal year 26. So that's why it's in assigned.
Yeah, so Paula, just to make sure we have a clear understanding of that, when we look at the restricted, that 5 million is excess levy, it's just not been assigned perhaps. It may have a line item.
We just haven't used it.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then the assigned is coming from a particular fund or line item that is, there's no room to move that around, right?
There is room to move it around, but it's up to the board how it gets moved. And usually that's not the board sitting down going, I want to move this and that. It's usually in the way I present it to you when I bring budget transfers. Some of that can be manipulated. Some of it cannot. For example, the Step 7 and the state allocations that they've given us and told us how we have to spend them. So, and then the unassigned fund balance, the $612,000 that's remaining, is just what you were talking about. It's unassigned. Can be used at the board's discretion. Okay. Now, when the state reports to you unrestricted fund balance, they're going to report to you $9,394,478. I do not agree with that because you have assigned it, but they are using the technical term unrestricted, and that is everything that's not in the restricted category.
So that's the assigned and unassigned.
Yes.
Balance, okay.
Yes. So that's where they get their numbers when they pass them out to you at the board, at the trainings and things. Right now, your unrestricted fund balance, well, at the end of that fiscal year, the unrestricted fund balance was $9.3 million. And your total expenditures for the year were $75 million. So your unrestricted fund balance is 12.4% of your expenditures for last year. It's a little bit under what the state recommends. They want 13.6, I believe. So it's a little bit under, but we're very close. So, and then the other thing I wanted to point out to you in your financial statements is page 80, the very last page. And that is where you'll find any findings that we would have. And on there it's listed that there's no finding for the years, an unmodified report, which basically means they made no corrections to what I had submitted other than maybe a few typos.
That's fantastic.
Okay, and there were no changes in these numbers as to what I had reported back in September when we sent them in. And then there was one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. It's not necessarily in the financial statements,
But when I presented these in September, it was asked to share with you an updated, I'll just pass it around, an updated list of our debt service for our leases. So I'll wait till this gets passed around. Okay, the board currently has 5 outstanding leases that we're making payments on. The first one originated in 2012, and it's been I've refinanced it twice, or the board has refinanced it twice. Each time we've done a refinancing, we have not extended the payoff date, but we have received a rate reduction good enough to make that refinance. That one will currently, after the end of this year, when we've made all of our payments, we will owe $715,000 on that, and we will be paying that off during the next fiscal year. Okay. The second one is a Bank of Ozarks lease. That was originally a lease that we made in 2018, and in 2021 that was refinanced. Again, we did not extend it past its original term. It was a 15-year term. 2 years in, we refinanced for 13 years. Originally, it was $6.6 million. At the end of this year, principal and interest, we will owe $4.4 million on that, and it will pay off in fiscal year 33. The third lease that we have was for the construction of the new, it says New Collins Middle, but for Oak Hill Middle School. Originally, it came about in 2019 with a 15-year term. We refinanced that one in 2021, and again, we did not extend the payments, so we refinanced for 14 years. Originally, we borrowed $6.1 million. At the end of this fiscal year, we will owe $4.7 million on that, and that will mature in fiscal year 34. In 2022, we received a lease of $5 million to help complete the new Meadowbridge Regional School. It's a 10-year lease. We have not been able to refinance that. Interest rates have not been favorable. We are still watching the market on some of these to see if it would be worth our while to refinance. Originally, it was $5 million. At the end of this fiscal year, no, something's not right there. My formula is not right on that one. Well, our principal amount at the end of this fiscal year will be $4.8 million. You can see that total does not add the interest and principal there, so I'll have to correct that one. And that will pay off in fiscal year 32. Okay, and then our final lease was for the athletic fields. We procured it in 2024, and it is a 10-year lease also for $7.5 million. At the end of this fiscal year, we'll owe $7.4 million, and that will pay off in fiscal year 36. I also show the scheduled payments until all of those are paid off. It will show you the total payment that we need to make each fiscal year.
And Paul, I think it's important to point out when you say we've refinanced, that's to gain an advantage on interest rates each time.
Yes.
Correct?
And actually, the athletic fields, we got the lease, and before the ink was barely dry on it, and Mr. McCliney called and said, "Hey, we can get you an interest rate deduction." So we ended up with a little more cash in our pockets for the athletic fields. So, and we will continue to watch the market and see if things can swing down. But we've got really good interest rates on these loans.
So Paul, if we were to take and look to see where these payments come out of the budget, where do you capture that?
It's in the general fund.
Okay.
And if you look, I can show you right here. If you go back to page 18 on the income statement, in the general fund column, if you go about halfway down, you'll see a line that says debt service.
Yep.
And so the principal amount there and the interest amount is
Okay.
there also.
All right, perfect.
Okay?
Anything else?
That's all I have, if you don't have any questions.
Board members, any questions for Paula? I think, again, good work to you and your department for having another excellent audit.
Thank you, thank you.
Very fortunate to have Miss Fridley.
All right, so we had Miss Dooley up next. So Miss Hara, you're going to come up and go over our scorecards.
So everybody has a copy of the scorecard. She put this together on this page first. We'll start here and then we'll go over the county scorecard. The ones with the frames, this captures a summary of the school-based scorecards. So if you take a look at this one right here, this one, and the instructional focus is from the schools this month. And actually, when I say this month, I'm talking about February. We looked at writing, math, standards mastery, tier 1 math, high DOK, vocab and context clues, questioning and answering, tier 1 and learning targets. And that's just captured from the different schools. All were on track with their logic model and have been updated in the second semester. The principals have completed 212 10-minute talks cumulatively. Our overall average for DOK is at a 1.9, and they've all held PLCs. There have been 185 fundraisers approved this school year. Our highest attendance rate for February was 97.79. And that was at FIT, and the lowest chronic absent rate was also at FIT at 5.25. That's great. Any questions about the school-based scorecards? Congratulations to FIT.
This is our goal to raise that DOK.
2.2 is what we're looking for as an average. So we've increased that at the beginning of the year. I think our county average was around a 1.3, 1.4. So that has gone up across the year, and our goal is at 2.2. But so if you really think about that, when you're looking at an average, and really we want to live in that 2-3 realm,
Right.
getting an average of 2.2 means that we are spending a lot of time at the DOK 3 level. So, that's a lofty goal when you look at how that averages out. So 1.9 is pretty solid right now.
That's good.
Yep. Good job. Okay, so if there are no other questions about the school-based scorecard, then I'm just going to have a seat and we'll go around and let all the different directors share out their respective area. I think Ms. Hendricks, are you?
Hendricks first.
So for attendance for the month of February, our attendance rate was 93.44%. Our chronic absentee rate was 18.16, and we have had 0 students withdraw from the county public schools during February.
What was your goal at the beginning of the year with that second one, the chronic absenteeism that you were shooting for? I just want to bring that back up so people know what we're shooting for as we finish the fourth quarter.
Yes, sir. So last year on our scorecard, we were at 19 point something, which I was pleased with. That put us in the yellow, which put us out of the red. So since we were 19, I would love to move to 18 and keep reducing every year. I would be lying if I said that I'm not concerned about that at this point in time. So anything below 19 would make me happy. Anything above 19 means we still have a lot of work.
We reduced from 23 to 18, which is that's a nice reduction from January to February. What was the, I know we had maybe some snow days in there. I don't know what all.
That's what it was.
Was it snow days?
Really
I was wondering if we just did really great job or we did all of it, right?
It was snow days, Mr. Chris. I don't think we can
Okay.
get around that one. Let's be honest.
You did have a incentive in March, right?
We did, we just finished our March Madness attendance incentive, and today is the 31st, and so I will be, or we will be, releasing the winners for elementary, middle, and high, which I think we already know from the high school level from what was just said, that Fit will be winning the high school, but I will be releasing all that information tomorrow. And we did it a little bit different this year because law refers to chronically absent, the chronically absent rate. And so this year, there's two sets of numbers. There's a chronically absent rate per week, and there is also an attendance percentage per week. That way we can see and try to understand what's going on within our schools.
Mr. Chris, you'll see when we talk about discipline, snow days didn't help that. Yeah, I was trying to help you, Mr.
When you
Martin.
get into this one, because of the snow days and not as much school in January, it looks like we took a huge jump in February, but it's just because we had a full month of school. Mr. Wardle wasn't calling days off every other day.
Yeah.
Level 2s, or level 1s and 2s is 547 referrals. Level 3s and 4s is 93 referrals. Total violation of 640. Out of school suspension was 173, and in-school suspension was 66.
Promise Scholarship stayed the same in the month of February. Stay tuned for more info though, because March is looking really good.
Yeah.
So we'll have more to update on that. As far as dual credit, again, we're in that stable time of year. Not many changes to the AP dual credit classes. Enrollment?
All right, so for February, our total enrollment was 5,104 students, with 1,216 of those students having an IEP, which make up 24% of our student population.
That means that number's creeping about 1 percentage point from where we were.
Yeah, we are setting records for the number
Yes.
of initial testing referrals that we have. Special education.
The number of homeschool students, 511. Hope remains 407. The private enrollments. Sorry.
192 private.
Okay.
I'll be Miss Dooley.
Thank you.
Thank goodness for your
Our
sister.
budget at the end of February was $156,618,364. Revenues for the month were $6,694,385. And our expenditures were $7,705,627.
Professional staff for February was 449, an average of 36 professional positions posted. Professionals attendance rate creeped up to 10.45. On the service personnel, 322 total, we averaged around 3 service postings, and like professional service absences also creeped up to 12, almost 13%. That's days we work with, sickness, school, all of it contributed. I can be Andy as well, Mr. Pitt. So our breakfast participation rate was at 41.23, and our lunch participation rate was at 59.36.
So I know Andy's tending to other business, right? So.
He's got another dependent.
Yeah.
A little baby girl, so everybody's doing fine, mom
Good.
and baby, yep.
So what would be great though is if we could ask Andy to break this out by school.
Okay.
It would be interesting to see what that looks
We
like.
can do that. Did you get that?
And it doesn't have to be every month, but just a
Yeah.
view to see.
Sure. With that being said, since we did miss, I'll go back to you, Mr. Chris, on snow days. We did miss 15 total this school year, and we have some food that needs to get pushed out, because when you have snow days, that means you didn't eat. So we're gonna be doing a lot of Cook's Choice here the next couple months, because let's be honest, we're trying to get that food out and get a good number and be done with the school year when it comes to the food side of it. But do want to let everybody know that we are striving we started this school year with West Virginia hot dog. We'd like to end the school year with a West Virginia hot dog, because a lot of kids, that was what we heard in the surveys, they want a hot dog. So I think we can, that'll be the positive way of looking at it. But other than that, there will be some Cook's Choice, because we do have quite a bit of extra food, but they're taking care of that right now.
All right. Any questions, board members? All right, thank you, guys. Mr. Payton, I'll invite you up to give us a construction update.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're welcome. Yes, sir. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Alrighty, so the first handout there just lists several things that are going on. I'm just going to go over those. I'm not going to ignore the elephant in the room. We'll come back to the baseball and the softball fields here in just a second, and then we'll talk a little bit about the elementary school and how it's going. But I just want people to kind of see some of the things that are going on with some of our other facilities too. This is my contribution to the s'more we put out this week, and it's just some kind of things that are going on there. So if you'll notice, if you go by FIT, I said here that they'll be leaving us soon, but the red poles are actually gone now. So that's good. I got tired of seeing those things. So that project is moving along pretty well. The steel is being manufactured and should be on site if it wasn't delivered today. I didn't get a chance. I spent most of the day today out at Midland Trail, and then tracking down some things for Gatewood. So that's good. Oak Hill Middle School, we have a classroom renovation that's going on over there. We have some guys over there making a little bit of noise, a little bit of a mess, but we have some students that have some special needs, and we don't have the right environment. So we're modifying the environment. It's one of the things that we do. It seems like every year kind of goes along with what Mark was talking about with that population of students rising. So, but anyway, so those are some things that we have to work on every year, and we're doing that for our kids out there. We're also doing a partnership. My guys have been real excited working on a partnership with at Midland Trail High School as part of the Empowerment Collaborative. I believe that's correct, Mr. Gray, on that coffee house. And that's been a real neat project, and we've really enjoyed working on that. It's going to be a neat opportunity for those kids to get some hands-on experience with running a business. And I think it's a really nice opportunity. We're just waiting on some furniture now, and we can kind of hit the open sign. So, but it's all ordered. As you see, I do have that we are continuing to work through some delays and frustrations with the baseball and softball fields at Midland Trail High School. We'll get there, and I'm going to talk about those things here in just a minute. That's the next handout you have. The new HVAC controls project at New River Primary School and Oak Hill Middle School, that is causing us a little bit of issues, and this time of year, especially as it's getting warmer, we have some fluctuations in temperature. Casto is very responsive. They're very aware of what's going on also, so they're trying to stay on top of it. But they're very responsive when we let them know that we have a problem. And I say that, and sometimes people say, well, they didn't fix mine until the next day. Well, sometimes that does happen, especially if we hear about it later in the day. So, but I don't like our teachers, I don't like our kids to be uncomfortable if we can help it at all. But it's on track to be finished in August. And I say that with some confidence. So, if you remember back in the fall, we approved the purchase of a new 50-ton unit for Oak Hill High School. That has taken quite some time to get up and running. And we are at the stage now where we are ready for train to come do startup on that unit. So it's taken some time, and we do have some temperature issues there as well. But once that is up and running, we'll be fine. The new Midland Trail Elementary School is making progress. It's had its own challenges, and we'll talk about those things. So some material supply, some weather issues, things like that. But we're pushing. We don't have a choice. It has to be ready. So Ansted and Divide, they're getting ready for a big move. And of course, there's just a little note there. We'll be moving all the stuff that needs to be moved to wherever it needs to go. Most of it will go to the new Midland Trail, the elementary school. But some of it will go to other places, and we'll take care of getting all that there. So, and then I've asked just people that if they see something, say something. And that includes with maintenance and repair issues. So if you'll go to the second handout there. And that is a little more in-depth look at where we are with the baseball and the softball fields. I'll turn that up to make sure I can hear me. So basically at the end of the day today, we have the conditioner that has been applied and mixed into the infields on both fields. That was complete today. So the infields are ready to go as far as the turfus material is concerned. The warning track material is complete on the softball field and almost complete on the baseball field. We have one more load that's going to show up tomorrow morning, and they will finish that tomorrow. And that's the third base line on the baseball field. You probably have seen it. It's also an area where the electricians are working on the pedestal. It's also the area where we've been doing some major concrete work as well. So it's just kind of an area that's been left to last for a reason. But we also need a little bit more material to finish it. So we'll have that finished tomorrow. They've been forming up sidewalks and pouring sidewalks. They were pouring sidewalks when I left over there today. So they should have sidewalks, all the sidewalks poured at the baseball field. Not all complete at the softball field, but all complete at the baseball field by the end of the week. Let me look at my notes here. Yes, so they'll backfill those, strip the forms off, backfill, and have all the sidewalks ready to go at the baseball field. Softball field has some other challenges which we'll talk about as we go along, but one of the big challenges is that there is a site drainage line that goes from the new school area across, the side of the school, through the parking lot area of the softball field into the new pond there by the softball field. That's pond number 3. Usually I just call it pond number 3, but it's the pond right there by the softball field. And then there's a sewer line that's also going to go through there and then go to the new wastewater treatment plant, which if you're at the softball field looking at pond 3, it's towards the baseball field. There's an area that was cleared yesterday. So for the new wastewater treatment plant. And that will be installed in May. About the middle of May. May 18th, I think is the exact date for the wastewater treatment plant.
So Tim, will we continue to use the existing plant plus the
No,
new one? Or?
Just the new one.
Okay.
We will decommission the old plant. Yes, we'll go. There's a process that we have to go through for that plant. Yes. Let's see, electricians have been on site. A lot of work has been done on the pedestal or the meter base, and where the power is going to come into the place on both fields. A lot of work has been done on both fields. The baseball field is slightly ahead of the softball field, but they were working at the softball field when I left today and making good progress down there. AEP, Josh had a note on here that there was a little bit of delay because of AEP, but AEP called me last week. My contacted AEP and assured me that they would be on site the week of April 6th to start setting their poles and running their power lines and getting us hooked up. So the week of the 6th through the 10th, AEP will be on site to work on getting power to both of those areas. The baseball field's going to be relatively easy. It's close to Route 60. The softball field's going to be a little tougher because it has to go underground and it has to go over top of the site drainage line and the sewer line. There's also a water line that's going in, but that does not affect us. It turns and goes a different direction just as it goes through the gate and stays out of the softball parking area. Electricians, of course, are pulling wires, doing rough ends on all the buildings. They plan cleaning out all the dugouts, set the benches and the storage containers by the end of this week. Josh says that both fields could be playable by the end of this week, but it's unlikely that we'll have power for the lights or scoreboards. Baseball is close, but softball is not. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. It's not as close as baseball, so we'll have a little better understanding of that in a couple of days, where Swope is with their installation of the drain and the sewer line. And then on Monday, once AEP is on site, we'll have an even better idea. But I've talked to both the high school coaches and let them know that when we do get a chance to use these fields, we're probably going to use them without electricity, without water, and without sewer. So both of them seem to be okay with that. And we are going to get porta potties we'll put on site. And they have some, they've made some arrangements to have food trucks and things like that. So we'll be okay. And then if we have to, we also, Mr. Pettit said that he would open the school and allow people to use, the facilities in the building as well. So the big thing, and I do want to say that I'm going to keep going through this, but the big thing too is access to the softball field. We want to make sure that we have a good, safe path. And Swope, who is the general contractor for the school, has said yes, they absolutely will help us get that path as soon as we're ready for it. Let them know. They will delineate a path using some orange fencing, make sure we have a nice gravel path. Have to stay between those lines basically to get back and forth between the field and the parking area. Okay, there will not be any parking area near the softball field for a little while until we can get that cleared up down there. Josh also said that he would not have people working this weekend. He hopes to make a good push the rest of this week, but I just want to let you know that I have been there, the last a couple of weekends and every day, and looking to see what's going on and talking to people, but not talking to them too much. I want them to work. I don't want them to talk to me. So, but they will not be there this weekend due to Easter. Next week, baseball. They're saying they're going to keep pouring more sidewalk and getting that wrapped up. And then they'll also be painting the dugout block, the concession stand building. So right now, both concession stands are white. They are not going to remain white. They will be the same color blue as the press box. If you've been over there, if you've seen the press box that's sitting at the baseball field, they will be that same color blue. The end of next week, April 10th, he's talking about the baseball field being very close. He means very close to being completely finished. Okay, not just ready to play a game on, but very close to being completely finished. Some things, asphalt, the dugout roofs should actually start arriving about that time. The batting cages were added towards the end of this project, and we had some money in the project, and we talked about that, so we were going to add those. So those will arrive soon. And then, of course, we're still waiting on utilities, but that's okay. We talked about that a little bit. Next week at softball, they're going to be delivering the press box and the bleachers. They'll pour some additional concrete around the bleachers and the concession stand. And it says, assuming we get the concrete truck there, they will get the concrete truck there. I've talked to Swope. Swope's like, yes, we will not impede progress. You let us know what we need to do. And as an example of that, today, the fencing company needed to get a lift behind the backstop at the softball field. There's no easy way to get there right now. The site's kind of muddy. There's a lot of things in the way. But I went and talked to Swope and said, I need to get that lift over there. And they had a big excavator, and they said, no problem. And they dug a nice dry path for us, and we drove the lift around there, and it is now sitting behind the backstop ready to be used, rain or shine. So the fence company was happy, and Swope needs to be commended for that. Next page, weekend 11th and 12th, they'll continue to work on the softball concession stand. They should get the roof on, hopefully some interior work as well, which will allow the electricians to keep moving forward with what they need to do. They'll also pour and form concrete curbs for the bullpen and the batting cage. And the bullpen and the batting cage, just so you know, so everyone knows, the bullpen and the batting cage for the home side on the softball field will actually be turf. Not grass, not sod. It'll actually be turf. The contractor recommended that due to the fact that it is a little wet in that area. He's going to build a retaining wall, and he's going to pour a curb and then do an infill just like we did for like the football fields, very similar to that process, and put artificial turf on it. That way it'll drain extremely well and it can be used in all kinds of weather. Okay, so we're excited about that. He said that he could do that for the same price that he could do for sod, or a full pad, or things like that. So I really appreciate his attitude, for one thing, and I really appreciate him giving us kind of those upgrades a little bit, or making sure that, hey, you could do this for the same money and get a better product, and I just really do appreciate that. During the week of April 20th to the 24th, he said that they should receive and set the dugout roofs for both fields, and then be very close to wrapping up the concession stand at softball and installing the finishes inside. They'll be able to install the turf in the batting cages and then the fences around those batting cages. The batting cages are not a critical path to get to the field to play. So, our big thing right now with fencing is to make sure the fence around the field and the gates are enclosed so that we have, a safe area to play in. Okay? And then he says, by last week, April, we should be very close, feels that there's some issues that will need to be addressed. Of course, there's always a few little things that you'll need to do. And then they'll schedule paving for that week as well. Okay? So, dare I say it, Mr. Warble, or do you want me to speak it into the universe? We're hoping that by Monday, we're good on both fields.
Yeah,
So-
I responded in a curt email. We're on it Monday.
Yes.
I don't know why we couldn't be. We
Yes.
should be on there Monday. It's time to play ball.
So-
I think the parents want us on it, and I agree with them. So we're gonna
Yeah.
play ball, guys.
Where are they playing now?
That's if it doesn't rain on Monday, but
They've been playing, if they can reschedule, they've been playing home games at Fayetteville or Ansted, and I'm not sure who's played how many where.
But we've not
Okay.
missed a game yet, right?
I don't-
Outside of weather.
No.
Insulation.
Okay, you all know that better than I do, I'm sorry, but I've
I
been.
believe that's the case.
Mr. Miller told us in our meeting, when did we meet with him? Was that Thursday or Friday?
Thursday.
He said at this point in time, they're good to go. They've tried to flop the schedule. We'll probably have more home games towards the end of the year than the beginning, but with the weather, you do that kind of stuff anyway most of the times. But right now, we're looking for the baseball to have pretty much a regular season as if there was no construction. Softball, they're probably going to play about 2 more games that are not going to be on the softball field because they have some games this week. So they're going to play it at Fayetteville or Ansted. But after that, they won't get half their games played at home on the new field, but they'll be close to half. So it'll be almost like a traditional season, but it'll be close.
It won't, softball especially will not be ideal conditions, just because we'll have to go through a little bit of the construction area to get there. But we will have bleachers next week, as Josh pointed out.
But I think Mr. Pettit and Mr. Miller, I don't know who's more excited, but they talk about side by side and driving people over to the field. So really, if they want to do that, I said that's great. That might help out. But I don't know what the width of a side by side is, and I don't know exactly how they're going to get there. But you know what? They're excited to help out, and I think that's great to have a principal and AD want to help out the crowd. I will say we're not accepting any tips. Just get them to the field.
Just get to the field, that's right.
Just get them out of the field. We want to play ball.
All right. So before I move on from baseball, any comments or questions on any of that?
Good job.
Good readout.
Just real quick,
Thanks.
tomorrow night we are meeting with people at the high school cafeteria. Mr. Payton and I will be there. I've even tried to work with the newscast and sent out a little bit of that last night. And then they will also, 59 News said, do you mind if we come to the meeting on Wednesday night? And I said, that's fine. It's an informational meeting, and if you can help us get the word out, it's open to the public.
And I'll be giving this same information again tomorrow night. Okay, I'm not gonna, unless if more things get completed, I'll update the list.
Right.
Okay, but otherwise, it's the same list that you have in your hand. Okay, and if any of you will be there tomorrow night, if I have updates and I'm expecting some updates, I'm expecting a few more things to be finished tomorrow. So it may change a little bit, okay? And again, the same thing for the next list that I'm going to talk about, the Midland Trail Elementary School update. There are 3 different handouts there. I'm just going to kind of go in reverse. The last one is a weekly update that I received from Skanska. This is our clerk of the works. This is the report that they give me every week. Matt Shamlin prepares this report for us, and it's a great report. He does a really good job of keeping everyone informed about what's going on there, and you can see the progress in the pictures. And if you look at the pictures, you can see that there's drywall going up, there's paint going on, there's just lots of things happening here. But having said that, you can share that or look at that at your as you will. But I want to spend some time on the actual kind of nuts and bolts, point by point report that I gave for baseball and softball. So where are we? Well, the kitchen, cafeteria, and the A section. Now I'm just going to tell you, you can see the picture on the front. The A section is to the left. That's the A wing is the single-story wing. It has all the administrative offices, art room, cafeteria, music room, gymnasium, kitchen, all those things. And then the B wing is over to the right, and it's 2 stories, and it has all the classroom areas, okay? So we are painting in the cafeteria. We've got the freezer and the cooler installed. We've got the hood in. Drywall ceilings are framed in. In the administrative area, all of them have the first coat of paint. The MEPs, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, okay, MEPs. Mechanicals are roughed in, overhead installation is complete, and they'll start on the ceiling soon. The gym is the only area of the school that does not have the roof completely finished. It is decked, it does have the steel, except for one piece, and then that is scheduled to be completed next week. All the equipment has been ordered, the bleachers have been ordered, those types of things. On the B section, the first floor, all the rooms have drywall hung, and it's finished. We did have a little bit of an issue with some water penetrating our school. We had some wet drywall, some wet insulation. We went through and checked several areas that was noted by our clerk where there may have been an issue. Those areas were opened up. If they were found to be questionable, wet or questionable, it was removed and replaced. Okay, we do not want an issue, with wet drywall, wet insulation, with mold getting in our building or anything like that. We don't want anything like that happening. So that's been done and removed. The second floor, they have built a temporary set of stairs to get up and down the floors, which is, I'm thankful. This old man is very thankful for that. Ladders get a little harder the older you get. But anyway, so all the rooms are framed, and then again, they are working on the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And once that's completed, the drywallers will come in and hang and finish drywall. The elevator is currently being constructed. It is not scheduled to ship until July 1st. So it should arrive on site probably after the 4th weekend. And then the week of the 6th, they'll begin installing, and that'll take about 10 days to install the elevator. Casework countertops, they've been measured, they're being made. The permanent stairs, which are metal, aluminum, not steel, aluminum, they've been measured and they're being manufactured. The exterior, if you haven't had a chance yet, if you look on that picture on the front of the report, you can see all the scaffolding going on over here, and that is completely bricked on that section, the A section. So today when I was over there, they were actually moving scaffolding, a lot of scaffolding around to the front, and they're going to start working on that area. That process, they say, will take about 3 months, which finishes them in plenty of time before the school opens. But the site superintendent, Bryson, said that he feels it's going to be less than that. He has confidence that it's going to be less than that. But they gave us 3 months, so I'm going to give them the grace of 3 months there. Working on utilities, the trees were removed. I think I talked about that already. The brick has started. The windows and storefronts are being measured, and they'll be constructed and then installed. The timber trusses and columns are finishing in fabrication, and once the entrance brick is complete, they'll be installed, and I can't wait for that. That's gonna look really, really, really nice. Mr. Wardle, that's the Gary Hogue entrance, by the way. We just, you know.
Oh, okay.
Okay, he was the one who came up with that. That was him, so, you know.
You must shop at Cabela's.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
That's what it looks like.
That would be a Terry George thing, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. As the brick finishes, then they'll do the sidewalks and curbs, which will then allow paving to begin. And of course, we're going to pave out to the road. You know, we're going to pave the campus. It needs it. It really needs it. And then the water companies continue with the water line. We had a meeting on site yesterday. The water company said, "Oh, we're just going to pull off and wait a little bit," and I said, "No, we're not." So we had a meeting on site, and we said, "Look, you can just go this way," and they said, "Sure, we can do that." So that's what we're doing. Any questions or comments on that? All right, thank you so much. You're welcome.
Right, finishes our 1000 series. A lot of great updates, information, recognitions. Board members, we do have one correction under the 2000 series, so if you'll turn your attention to item 2095 at the bottom. The bus references 2026 funding. That funding is actually out of the 2027 budget. Correct, Ms. Schumate? Okay. And that is the only correction I have there. So with that, do I have a motion to accept?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Christ. Any questions? I think, Chad, you were going to give us a little update on the bus purchase.
Just basically, what you see before you is allocated for 5 purchases. 3 will be 77 passenger buses. 1 will be a 59 passenger aid assisted gasoline bus. And then we have 1 47 passenger bus that will be purchased. So that will improve our fleet by 5 buses. And we'll remove 5 and we're staying strong.
So you're going to completely retire 5 buses, or will they become
Pretty much,
spares?
Well, you transition into spares and then you eliminate 5. So you always keep about 30 spares.
Okay.
That's typical from what I've been told.
And Ms. Fridley says that's all you can spend, right?
Right. I'm only letting them spend it because the state says so.
And then she says you can only get them yellow with black lettering too, so. But yeah, what you do is you keep some of those buses as good sub buses and miscellaneous, if you will, like short trips for some of those buses if you need
Well,
to.
some buses need to be retired. I mean, everything has a lifespan.
Sure, yeah.
Be nice if,
Safe product on the
be nice if drivers went with them.
Don't put that in your notes, Amy. Poor guy had his mouth numb today.
We thought he was drugged. I guess he's waking up.
We're good. Are you any other?
Any other questions on the buses?
I think we heard no.
I will say, Chad, if you have some that are totally, you've completely used them, robbed parts, anything you need, the County Fire Association would be interested in having some of those to do classes on extrication type classes. So.
That's a good deal.
Yep, so. Board members, I also want to note that we are voting on the school calendar, item 2096. Ms. Dow or Mr. Warvel, any comments?
The only comment I would have is if the governor signs a lot of these bills and they become law, not this school year, it's the following where we would transition from the traditional calendar into ours. So stay tuned for that. But we would like to make sure we get a whole year with our stakeholders and educate people what is that going to look like? And we're going to have probably more questions than answers at the very beginning of all this because it's an uncharted territory for us. But Ms. Dial, you probably want to talk about this year's calendar. I was getting to next year's because that's been asked a lot of, and that is not happening until the following school year.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, they need to know that. Sorry, Ms. Dial, go ahead.
It's fine. We didn't receive any additional comments or questions about it.
Okay. And so I know that you try to get close to
Kanawha County,
Riverside's schedule. So.
And also, next,
A few variants, but not many.
we're very close, and also next week, Mr. Groom asked the question I think everybody needs to hear. We are busing our students to Riverside next week, even though we're on spring break. Those kids still need to get to school, so I just want everybody to know that they're going to school next week.
Right.
Okay.
And looks like Bob's making a purchase as well.
Yeah, you can ask him about all those iPads. That's Bob's.
So
Yeah, they're about 5 years old, going on 6, and they're now complaining about some of the apps on the newer and that won't work with the newer or the older iPads. So I was only going to buy half, but then I'm getting complaints from even kindergarten where they like using them and the apps aren't working. So I said, look, let's just go. This is actually a lease purchase. I don't have enough to do it all in 1 year. So I'll pay half of this year and the other half next year. And it's about a 2% interest is what Apple's charging me to do that. But that way I can get new iPads in all the hands of the kids next school.
the
That is consistent with what we did the first time, but we did it 3 years.
We did 3 years, then I just pushed it to 2.
so the current iPads that are out there are leased as well.
They were originally leased, and then at the end of the term, we bought them for a lease.
Oh.
Right, they were lease purchase, because I talked to Apple and I said, are these old ones ours? And they said, yes, they are yours. And I said, okay. And I said, after the lease, this is not a lease, this is a lease purchase. And
Right.
they said, yes. At the end of the lease, they are ours.
What do you do with the ones we're replacing?
That, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask to see if, well, some of them we'll keep for spares, for odds and ends, and some of them may need one that works.
Right.
But I would like to find a good recycling place that pays me, $30, $40 a piece and put that money back into our pocket.
Gotcha. Okay. Board members, any other questions? All right, so we have a motion and second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Moving to our consent calendar, we've got multiple trips that we're looking at, 3028 through 3032. Do I have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Groom. Thank you, Ms. Whitlock. Any questions on any of these trip requests?
Just real quick, 3029 on down is a lot of fit, and I know the question, I will pitch hit for Mr. Coach Gary Ray. Are there male and female chaperones? And the answer is yes, Coach. We have male and female chaperones, because I know that's been a big concern, and I know he would ask that question. So that answer is yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion second. If there's no further questions, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, so Paula, you're back up again, our 4,000 series. Do you have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. And Ms. Whitlock. And Paula, anything you want to share with us? Okay. Can you talk about this, the new school support organization for just a minute?
Yes. Ms. Stacy White has sent a letter of recommendation. New football coach, the new parents coming in, they wanted to start their own organization. They have already filed the letters with the IRS to become a 501c3. So they would be maintaining
did they, is this replacing a booster organization? It's not, it's brand new.
Yes.
All right, any other questions for Paula? Okay, if not, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Now, I think the biggest part of our agenda, personnel. So do we have a motion to accept the personnel recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Block. Thank you, Mr. Chris. Any questions?
Well, you always have Ms. Dial lead this, but I had Mr. Metter hang around tonight just in case you had questions about busing at the new elementary school. Do you want him to give you just a quick 10, 20-second overview? If you need more time, please ask questions.
We'll give him even a little bit more.
Okay.
that.
We'll give him some of your time.
Well, that's fine, because his bedtime's in 45 minutes.
I'm sure.
So basically, with the upcoming consolidation and up in the Dillon Trail Elementary School, we're moving from a single bus run serving students to a two-run system. And that change required all 14 drivers at the Dillon Trail Bus Center to be placed on transfer status so routes could be revised and rebid. So once the revisions were completed, priority bidding was given to the current drivers. Mr. Brian Parsons helped me tremendously, helped complete these revisions, making only minor adjustments to existing routes to basically make things more efficiently, incorporate any additional elementary runs that needed to be more consistent. So the revised schedule, like I said before, now includes 2 daily runs with morning high school and middle school routes beginning anywhere between 5:15 and 6 a.m., followed by drop-off at Midland Trail High School around 7 a.m. And with that, then we'll have a second run at Midland Trail Elementary with arrival at approximately 8:30. So in the afternoon, high school and middle school pickup will begin at about 2:30, followed by elementary pickup at 3:30, with elementary routes concluding approximately 4:15 to 4:30 in the evening. One neat thing about this process was, I once again give credit to Mr. Parsons. He basically made this booklet. He looked at all 14 routes and reworked them minimally. But one thing of the process, we met with each driver individually, and we talked about how their current run would be changed. They asked questions, and at the end of that, the conclusion of those 14 meetings, this booklet was placed in various locations for all drivers to take a look at all the routes before they bid on them. And at the conclusion of all this, each driver bid on the job that they currently have. So that's kind of a true testimony to the work done by Mr. Parsons and the drivers wanting to stay with what they have. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I think that will work best.
All right, any questions, board members? And again, I think you mentioned, but just so we're clear, we'll have Divide will be moving to the Anstead Elementary schedule, correct? So the elementary, so that will be a change for some of our parents. So I'm sure we're going to be notifying and making sure they're aware of all that.
Yeah, that is a process, but I gotta commend Mr. Metter coming in brand new and working with Mr. Parsons and the bus drivers. He's built their trust, and it was a team effort. It's very rare that you get exactly that, so let's get this voted on, because I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it looks good.
So
I
thank-
have this booklet here, if you guys ever want to look at it, I'll just keep it here.
Okay.
Before we vote on this, board members, though, any questions on any of the personnel actions? If not, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel items.
Second.
So I've got a motion second. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will take a few minutes. Mr. Warble, if you'll join us.
You want-